Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Low Five Gaming. This is Alex, your host, and I am joined by the one, the only Lucas Duketh.
Lucas Duthick. Hello, foul maidenless tarnished. How are all of you after our much anticipated controversial departure from the podcasting space? How are we doing?
Oh my gosh, indeed. I'm
We
doing
even
pretty well.
we
I
even
hope the
had
people are
extra
doing
content
well.
available and then we destroyed it just for scarcity's sake, dude. We just wanted to be edgy. We
Indeed.
made that one Wu-Tang album that they made and sold to the one guy. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
We
It actually
basically
got
did that.
leaked, dude. Did you know that?
Yeah. I think I heard, but I haven't heard the music. But I mean, it makes sense. You give somebody the thing that only they can listen to, they're probably going to leak it eventually. But
Yeah.
regardless, no one will leak our secret, super awesome episode because we destroyed it.
I know.
It was too good, dude. It was too juicy.
A couple
So we
years deep into
destroyed
the
it.
podcasting sphere, you'd think we'd have these things figured out, but no, we recorded a dead air. We got sick. Things happen,
Yeah.
man. Life.
Alex got vicious diarrhea like
Dude, that
multiple
happened too.
times.
That's for real though, Noro. I mean, I don't know if that was involved with our recording, like, but I did have the Noro. Might have
It's
to
the
cut a little bit of
truest.
this off the intro.
Nope. Because it's the truest Elden Ring experience, dude. Because no matter if you have norovirus, you cannot pause. You must
Oh
continue.
Lord.
So we made it 1 minute into this pod before I bitched about being unable to pause. You're welcome.
Indeed. So if you haven't picked it
Yes.
up by now, we're talking Elden Ring
Yes.
in the year of our Lord 2025.
Because we're edgy.
3 years late to the party, roughly.
And 3 years and not even talking about the DLC, which would be
Almost to the
most
date,
people's
dude.
excuse.
I think this dropped in February. Like
Yeah,
almost to the date, 3 years.
that's hilarious. And we just get into it.
Getting to it. I'm
Too many
still
games.
fighting through it, man, to be honest.
Yeah.
But no, it's dope. Elden Ring, is it dope? I don't know. We'll get there. Elden Ring, developed by From Software. This is my first FromSoft experience. How about
Same.
for you?
Same.
Right on.
We usually reference it a lot in pods because it's definitely
Indeed.
part of the zane, but we mostly mock and make fun of it. So this is us truly getting our capital G gamer creds with perhaps the most accessible game in the series. But
Right, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm tuned in enough to know that although this is a From Software game, it is the most approachable, is what folks will say. Even though I thought this was pretty difficult, dude. Apparently, the other ones are worse.
yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to like the deepest depths of the late game stuff or the DLC, which I heard is
Yeah,
bonkers. But
sure.
I always remember this game being compared to Breath of the Wild, and I just thought that was the most bonkers thing in the world because I hadn't played it. And mild spoiler, I get it now. We'll get into that later. Certainly not as friendly of that game, but you get the hang of it, and it is pick upable.
Sure.
It is approachable. And as much as
This
there's
game,
a learning curve, it is cool. I liked it a lot.
Elden Ring,
Mm-hmm.
pick upable, approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're 20 hours deep, maybe.
No. I'd say like I have very fond memories of the opening like struggle where there's that first
Yeah.
encampment and running up to that encampment and trying to figure it out. Like I remember that stuttering phase very fondly.
Mm.
And then from around that area, once I cleared the camp, I was pretty much up and running. Now, early shouts out. I've had some wise guides, some sage experiences from some pretty funny sources. Do you want me to get into that now, or should we do that later?
Oh, we can jump into it real shortly just to get the housekeeping out of the way. This did drop on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Windows.
Tight.
So that if you don't got one of those, you're not playing.
Right. Buddy of mine, Aaron, he shared with me a sweet map and also was just kind of like helping me out with like some initial early game stuff because he was a good chunk ahead of me. shouts out him. It was really dope to have him help me out. So that kind of helped me with a lot of like the early game, like stuttering, like, hey, should I be sucking this bad? Answer, yes, try this. Me being like, oh,
Sure.
actually super dope, helpful. Ace, early reference. Boing.
Boing.
He got it as a gift, so he picked it up around the same time. So it was actually really cool to talk through some of the stuff as we were parallel going through a lot of the same challenges. And then most hilarious, I got a little homie, one of my students, who today actually told me that he's like put 500 hours total into this game.
Get out.
It's buck wild, but if you think
That's
about
cool.
it, we always talk about like how much more we would have played of a game if that's the only game we had and we
Yeah.
were kids. And that's him, right? And like it's like talking to a wiki page. I'll be like, yeah, I'm in this area, and he'll like say the name of like the bosses, and he understands the dialogue going on, which rant incoming later there. So I've basically had
Interesting.
like Ace parallel playing, I've had
Boy.
Aaron as a bit of a guide, and then I've had my little nerdy homie as another sage like little guide for me, and he's done it all.
That's
I
dope.
actually have found the community of it really cool, and then like my initial stumbles were eventually rewarded, and I got super duper into it.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really have an Elden Ring Sherpa. You are a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I helped you. I
The
helped you.
internet
We did some.
as a whole.
We did some coop. We did some coop a little bit. It's
Yeah,
been a long
no,
time since we've
that was
cooped.
actually
So
honestly that was probably the turning point for me. Having you come in and help me through with a couple of little baddie bosses, and that sparked that session. Our first like first and last maybe.
you're correct.
um, but
As you can
that
tell from this
session.
extremely late pod, our coordination skills are fantastic
Oh,
these
it's
days.
yeah, 2025 baby.
Yeah, baby.
But no, man, that actually that did spark like that was my like that's what turned. I just wasn't sold on this game, dude. And then like when we connected and did that session, like that's what made it click for me. I was like, all right, cool, like this is cool. You helped me get past a couple like pain point bosses that I was dealing with, and yeah, it just like turned on it flipped the switch where it's like okay, where I
We
was
got
kind of like
invaded
slugging
by
through.
some douche who wants to wreck noobs who are
Dude,
just trying to figure out a stupid fucking convoluted system.
that was so wild. That was so wild. I couldn't believe it. We
That
thought it was
was
a computer too. We were like, wait,
I
what?
know. Or like, are you punished for sticking in here too long? And I believe only in bosses can you not be invaded. Otherwise, if you're doing that
Okay.
co-op shit, you're vulnerable to invasions, which is it's
Yeah,
some
we were
silly
trying to
shit.
like
But
find our grounding, like just like before we went into to take on that boss, and all of a sudden
literally
some dude just pops out of nowhere, like just
throwing
way OP,
bombs,
throwing
dude,
bombs
throwing
and shit.
literal bombs at us that
I don't
we
remember who
haven't.
died first, me or you, but like he definitely just like mopped the floor with us, and I was like, "What
Yeah,
the fuck was that? Is it because we
we
were
were
sitting there for too long? The game just booted us. That's how it does
hopeless.
it." Or
There wasn't even like a thing that warned us it was coming. And like classic this game, dude. I really admire that they just throw you into things and you figure things out. But it's also the stupidest shit in the world because I'm like, you're like, was that supposed to happen? What's going on?
yeah,
What? Why? But yeah, quite a little rant there. But
I think a lot of folks listening are probably they've either dabbled in this. They probably I mean, it won a bunch of game of the years. This game has been making its rounds. Like it's got a little bit of new life because they just dropped like it's not even DLC. It's like a brand new game, Night Rain. It's like an
sure.
Elden Ring takes place in the Elden Ring like realm, but it's like a rogue like a multiplayer or some shit.
I recently
Um,
heard it compared to Hades, like a roguelike,
Interesting.
like 3D Hades, and I was like, oh, that I
That's
wasn't
cool.
interested, but now I kind of am.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's there. I mean, I think earlier this year, no, not this year. So like late last year, I think they dropped, or who knows time, but they dropped DLC that
Yeah,
people love
you're
for it.
correct. Yeah,
So yeah, man,
Shadow of the
it's still
Erd Tree.
yeah, exactly. And that was like highly lauded as well. Like people are stoked on that shit.
Well, it
People,
was
this
so
won the Game of the
big.
Year awards.
It's like too big to be its own new game, but it's too small to be its whole brand new game.
Right.
But it's also, it's DLC, but it's the chonkiest of DLC. It's like in this weird middle ground.
And I asked for forgiveness in advance, but Hidetaka Miyazaki is the
Mhm.
director of this game. My Japanese not great, bro.
You know
But
what? They'll know who you're talking about.
indeed. But and then
Um,
what's kind of cool though is the world buildings. They reached out to George R. R. Martin to work on the world building of this game, which I think is like a fun collab.
I feel like they just got him to make silly names that start with G, but
Could be.
I could be
Like
wrong.
like that dude needed to be pulled away from all of his projects.
He was so happy for a distraction. He's never finishing them books. It is a cool name to put on, and it is like a good. I don't know at all what's going on. I swear to God, if I ever beat this game, I'll spend some hours on YouTube learning all of it to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I guess the people who are into it are so into it.
Little homie, you're just talking about 500 hours, bro.
And I asked him like how much time have you spent on YouTube? And he said like not a bunch, but I don't believe him. I swear he's been reading a
Yeah,
ton
you
about
gotta
it.
know.
It's
I mean, he might
dense.
be digging through the wikis or something.
He's got to be because I have no idea what the fuck is going on, which
They
is
don't
fine.
really.
I actually
I
find it
mean, yes and
liberating.
no. Yes and no. Like, there's things that I like about it, things that I don't. I think that was one thing that it took me longer to kind of latch on to it because I'm just going to juxtapose it to The Witcher 3. Very, like, I love The Witcher 3, and I think the story in that game is fucking dope. I love, Geralt of Rivia. This is like very you get to create your character. I think that is fun. You get to choose from a bunch of classes, a whole bunch of classes. Curious, who you went to with the
I'm a samurai.
right? And I went with the
How do
warrior.
you not? How do you not samurai? I'm shocked. You walked past a samurai and you're like,
Eh.
no.
Well, the warrior's pretty dope. Like I often will end up being like in a game like this, I'll choose like I default to the what do you call it the warrior, but I want to say beast. I'm
Tank.
not. It's not the
You're
beast,
more
but
of a
like more of
tank
tank
build.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it made sense to me. I think if I had to do it again, I would either do the samurai, maybe the vagabond. I don't know if I would start with warrior. Like it just didn't. It didn't quite do it for me. Like even now, I'm like kind of wish that my dude looked different.
Yeah, I mean the samurai starting armor is cool.
It
I
is.
haven't run into anything to replace the armor yet.
Okay. Yeah.
I know
And
there's some stuff people suggest to do. So I kind of you have a little bit more flexibility where you're probably running into some other. Are you still with the same armor you started with?
no, I switched it up pretty early on. I've run into a couple of sets that are nice. This game's interesting. It is dense. So like
Dude,
there
so
is
dense.
two different yeah, so
There's
like
so many
there's
systems I still have 0% grasp over, and I'm like 60 to 70 hours deep.
exactly. So like I mean I
Yeah.
have picked up armor that is like good and it is like elevated my character, but it's not good. Like I can't remember what it's called right now, but there's like two sets of like there's like two sets that every piece of like armor has. It's has to do with like its durability, not its durability, but like I don't know, like it has like basically I
Base
don't know
stats and then scaling.
exactly or so
Yeah.
I don't know. I just see that there's like levels upon levels that I'm just like I don't
Hmm.
know, man. Like
Hmm.
which so I haven't put it this way. I have not sold my original armor set because there's certain pieces of it that like are actually better.
Oh,
So
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. We're in the weeds on that one. Which speaks to the game, which is like at one hand, it's unlike The Witcher, where you feel like it's weird that you're in this cataclysmic, like apocalypse, like this crazy apocalyptic event, and yet you're just like fucking around playing Gwent. There's always that weird
Yeah, yeah.
juxtaposition of that. What I love in this game is like there's no text anywhere. There's no like missions. We'll get to that later, but like you're just kind of there. You're fucking around, poking around feels like pretty
Yeah.
natural. And it is super comparable. That sensation of just like looking over on a map and you're like, I bet you there's some cool shit over there. It feels the only game that comes close to touching that and being better than that is Breath of the Wild, the original one.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scrim, dude. Skyrim. Like
Yeah.
that's
Scrim,
probably
I
a
get loaded
better
down with loot and I'm like digging through barrels and dumb shit like that. So I would say that, like, you know what the
this
fuck
is
I mean, though. You know what
oh
the
for
fuck.
sure, dude. I was
Yeah.
playing Starfield last night and I
Yeah, and you're
was
like you're
opening every
weighed down
goddamn
by a
locker.
wheel of cheese, and you're like, well, I can't get rid of my block of cheese. Like, so I'd say this game like streamlines some of that adventure better. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did feel like I felt the joy of like when I first played some scrimming, and I was like digging through a cave and like getting into shenanigans. It's 100% like that. It's 100% like Breath of the Wild. You're not as fluid in getting around like you are in Breath of the Wild, but the environments are just straight up gorgeous, dude. The art is so fucking cool. And like it's got a really good video game map. It's like, oh, if you want me to nerd out on some good video game map, like it's not too informative, but you can definitely study it and be like, there's some cool shit over there. And then you go
Dog,
over there and like, oh,
I'm so spoiled.
toy. It's
I feel
toy.
like I feel like modern day video game graphics has spoiled me. I know this game is beautiful, but I think like after playing Red Dead Redemption 2, like I don't know if there's a prettier game.
No, but like graphic fidelity is, I mean, Red Dead 2 is just fucking bonkers, but I mean like the art direction is fucking sick.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, no, and like, to be
the
fair, I'm like
enemy designs, the character
yeah.
designs, like your environment that you're literally in it's pretty close to like perfect's the wrong thing because this is more of a subjective deal. Pretty masterclass for like how the game vibes look and feel and like the things
Yeah.
you run into. Like the environments are crazy cool.
A little too dark for me.
Where's the rainbows?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, to be fair, like, you look off in the distance and there's some cool shit going on, the Erd trees and all that shit. Like, yeah, I mean, it's dope, man.
Yeah.
Like, I see what you're saying 100%. And I agree with you. I just don't know if it's my vibe.
Dude,
Like,
that
I still
giant
don't.
fucking castle you're in right now, that first legacy
Mhm.
dungeon, that thing's so sick. Like
Yeah,
dude, that'll be a video game space that I'll take with me for a long time. I
that's
think
cool.
clearly I'm more pilled. I'm fully in. There's some nitpicking that I have with it, but like if we're talking
uh,
like things I like about it, I could go on and on.
Yeah, it's funny though. Before we jumped on the mics, like earlier today, I was thinking, and I was like, because I have warmed up to this game quite a bit, and
Yeah.
I was like, I have to channel some of my fucking grumpy energy, because like, dude, the majority of my playthrough, I was like not really feeling it. So I was like, I got to bring that back. I can't just come in. I can't just be glowing for Elden Ring, because like this shit fucking pissed me off for like a good solid like 10-15 hours.
Damn. Maybe it's just because of my Sherpas, but now it does that classic video game thing where like I remember the early struggles. It's charming now. I've also like I mean it's such a big part of the gaming zeitgeist. People generally know about the game and they've heard a lot of tidbits and a lot of like, oh, this is how you should handle it. Like you should just run away. Like the tree sentinel. I knew through various
Mhm.
podcasts and media that he was there to wreck me and teach me to run away when I can't handle something and go fuck off. I
Which is a bit
still
of a
tried
From Software trope, right? Like that's
yeah,
kind
I
of something
still
they
did
do.
it. I still tried to
Yeah.
like fuck him up and he still just absolutely murdered me. I saw a meme today that was like, "Hey, where should we put this place? We have our nice little starter area of the map. Which like place should we make that's like literally hell? Where should we locate it? Oh, right next to the starter place. Like, so you did that. Didn't you wander off heading east and then you like ran into like the place that's basically hell and you're like you just got destroyed and you were like disheartened and confused?"
Yeah, that was one point. That was that was like not too far before we had our
Yeah,
little
it's like
co-op session.
the session you had before it. And there's even a
Yeah,
treasure
totally.
chest that traps you, sends you over there in a cave so you can't even get out. You have to run out of the cave, get to like a safe spot for a second, and then fast travel back. So like the game's constantly trying to piss you off.
Yeah, I think Dragon Barrow or some shit like that, or
Word.
Khalid.
It's
I don't
Khalid,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, Khalid.
Khalid
I
or
think
something.
I went into both DJ Khalid.
Right.
So I went into both those there, because basically I did the at that point I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna try and beat any of these bosses. I'm just gonna explore, and like that was fun, like because you I figured it's kind of similar to Breath of the Wild, where you have your towers. So like same thing. There's these, I don't know what they are,
Map
kind of like
fragment
pillars or
type
whatever. Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So you
They're
go find
usually
those,
on
and
a
you can
pillar. Yeah.
usually, yeah, you can usually find like it is signaling to you where those are, so you can go find them. And now it's kind of just revealing parts of the map. And I found myself over in DJ Khaled zone, dude, and fucking I was like, this is not hype. This is very
No.
not DJ Khaled. This is like hell, and everybody's really scary, and like I'm
Yeah.
getting my ass kicked.
Well, it's like certain games you play, you just run over and you hack and you roll around. And I definitely do that now, but like you have to learn the patience and the cadence and how the enemies come at you. And I know that's like the dumb shit the fucking sweats will yell at you on the internet, but it's true. Also,
I
the
did the
game.
classic, like I googled, when does Elden Ring become fun? And
Why am I not having a good time?
of course, like there's a whole bunch of hits. Like I am not the only person that has googled this before, and I ended up on some Reddit thread and I was reading through it. It was kind of fun to see, because there was a couple folks that are like, look, I'm sorry that I'm going to say this, but it's just the way it is with this game. Like you got to get good.
Well, dude,
And then it's fun, and then that's what they say, then it's fun, and it's like I get it. And it's true. Like,
I was talking to my little homie today about the last boss I faced. Then I one shot the boss, and he goes, "Oh yeah, cool. No, that's awesome. It's awesome to hear." And I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "That boss took me 3 hours."
oh shit.
And I think he just got to that boss way earlier than I did because I like
Yeah.
really I like the I don't like the storyline stuff of The Witcher. The side quests are sick, but I didn't really care about like the main mission. The best part of Breath of the Wild, people complained that it wasn't linear and didn't have a strong enough story. I just love to fuck off and explore things in games. So
Mm,
like in this game, I get not over leveled, but I get pretty high leveled. So I'm usually not totally overwhelmed for a task, and that helps me have a lot more fun when I'm just wrecking enemies. You can go back to an early area and some the enemies will still catch you off guard and fuck you up. So you never feel like you're playing unfair, but like when you feel really powerful, it pays off and feels really fucking cool.
yeah,
Also, I
100%. I
have a
mean, reaching
sick
that point,
samurai sword and I'm a fucking G, dude, getting bleed going, dude.
reaching that point is always great in these types of games. I think what's interesting about this game, and like I had to assume that there are other games that are like this as well. Is you have to be in that mindset. Like they are punishing games, and it's just it's a type of gameplay that some people love. I'm a little lukewarm on it, but I respect it, I guess. It's interesting because I am here for like a grueling platformer. Like I will do that. But for whatever
This is way
reason,
less frustrating for me than Celeste was. And Celeste is a good ass game.
yeah,
But
so like
yeah.
for I'm Celeste is like my or like another good example around that would be like Prince of Persia or like Metroid or something, like
Yeah.
some of those bosses were really tough. Like and I'm here for running through the paces on one of those games and trying to learn how to beat those bosses. And for whatever reason in the 3D action um realm that Elden Ring lives in, it's I don't know. I'm just not sold. But at the same time, like Skyrim, like see this game, I see so many parallels to Skyrim, and I was so much easier for me to like role play Skyrim. You know?
Yeah, because there's things to role play. In this game, you're just this fucking thing running around fucking shit up. And like we don't know yet what's going on. I haven't
Fair,
read the
yeah,
PhD text 400 level class to understand what the fuck George R. R. Martin and crew were getting at. But
yeah.
like you're just fucking around and finding out constantly. And
So how
one
far
thing,
into the map are you? Like the whole world map? Like are you like
not
I'm
very, because I'm pretty careful about like not 100%ing things because I'm not into that, but like the game is dense, the map is dense, so I probably
right?
have a third of it unlocked, including the underground stuff. So like, which is
Okay.
crazy because I'm like 60, 70 hours in, but like there's so much to go. I
I
don't think
kind of
there's
I
a
kind of
bigger
asked,
lie on how long to beat than this game.
what does how long to be say?
Oh, I haven't seen it. It's probably like 40 to 60 hours. Let's get IT on that.
Yeah, 60 hours is what they're saying.
Yeah, that's out of control, dude. I've beat two legacy dungeons. Two legacy dungeons. And for those of you uninitiated, legacy dungeons are like those old school linear dungeons within the kind of the more modern 3D like Zelda like games, I guess. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
this is honestly more of a Zelda game than Breath of the Wild. Because those stupid
Yeah.
fucking divine beasts that were like an okay temple, right? Like
hmm
the castle that you're on right now, that first one, I just think it's sick, dude. You have to be like, you just kind of keep exploring and picking away and doing all these different things. And there's so many different types of enemies and different challenges and moments and weird platforming and like sections that you got to get to and checkpoints. And I just fucking love that. But then when that's overwhelming, I just go fuck off back. I've been saying fuck a lot on this pod. I guess I'm just so riled up about it. But then I just like, I go dick around. I got to a choke point in that castle and I could not get any further. I saw this big enemy and I was like, nope, can't do this anymore. So then I didn't even notice that island to the south where I helped you with that boss. And I
hmm
cleared that whole island and castle and stuff like a little mini deal. And then I went back and like that was so gratifying. Sorry, what was that rant even about? Just how much I love the legacy dungeons.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
No, you bring
Boss
up.
battles are fucking epic. They're way too hard sometimes, but you have those assists. Like I felt dirty the first time I used the summoning
I've never been
because
able to use summoning for like computer summoning. There's been a couple spots where it's been obvious to me how it works, but I was under the impression you could do that like easier.
I think you can. Yeah, I don't know because once again I'd have to spend 20 minutes on the internet figuring out how the fuck
Dude,
to operate anything.
So here's the deal. Like it sounds like I'm fucking like complaining about this, and I am to
Nah,
an
this is
extent,
Luke explains Elden Ring to a boomer. Continue.
dude. I am complaining to an extent, but you brought up like so the whole like summoning thing that we went through to figure out how to make summoning work. Like I had the instructions on the start menu or whatever. I had a YouTube thing playing. Like I also had like like a wiki page open trying to figure out how to make it all work. It still wasn't super clear, and like that, it's just frustrating. Like, and that's just this game to a T. It is unclear and frustrating, but then when you get it to work, it's fucking dope.
Yeah, it. I've brought it up on this pod, but it's like my favorite meme ever of like some nerdy sweat just being like, "Elden Ring is so good. Like you need a notebook to play. Like it doesn't hold your hand. Like you have to decipher the information yourself." And then they're playing on a computer and they have two monitors with all this different text and things telling them how everything works. And it's like,
Right.
it's frustrating. I would like a quest log or something. Like I love that I don't have this map littered with fucking icons and just clutter, and I love that I can just derp around as I've mentioned a few times. But there's some times when someone's like, "Have you done this quest?" And I'm like, "The fuck do you mean? I didn't I talked to the person, but you have to talk to them 3 times." And I'm like, "That was convoluted and strange for them to open up this quest line and then like was I playing at night? And then the next day I forgot what I was up to and there's nothing to remind me of what I was on. So like whenever I accomplish something, I have to like be so focused and like using an online guide. So that's kind of fucking silly.
I have like mixed feelings about that too. Like I think it's pretty cool, but like I don't know. I think like just be nice to the player, man. Like give them like I don't need everything on my map, but a nice little like checklist would be all right.
What's funny is this is the nicest to the player game they've made.
I know, right? For real, for real. I'm such a weirdo too, though, because like I've like dabbled in Elden Ring now, and I'm not a stan, but I think it's cool. But I still want to go back and play Dark Souls. Like
You're so
that's how
silly. This is
dude. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm such a
like
weird
I understand
person.
my I want to because I'm pretty pilled on the experience. So and I feel like I've learned some of the language, so to speak. Like we've talked a lot about
Yeah.
the semiotic domain that you are, involved with here and how you just learn the language of a game and you understand and you get become fluid and like I respect that. I've totally gotten way better at that myself. So like I think that Dark Souls eventually maybe if I get that itch. Something I don't think I've paid a ton of attention to, but I love in this game, and I think this game does it better than any other game I have ever played, ever. Which is
Sure.
enemy design and diversity. I have
Mhm.
never played a game where I've fought this many different enemy types this late into the game. Breath of the Wild is a comparison that you'll hear me keep bringing up because of the adventuring, the exploration, but I got so tired of fighting the same 5 Zelda enemies. The bosses were pretty cool, but in this game you have
Sure.
super sick bosses. Like that's a whole conversation of its own. But the fact that like I go to a new area and I'm not just fighting the same skeletons, the same trolls, the same like Skyrim is an almost perfect game, one of my favorites ever. But like you fight a lot of the same dudes, and you're almost tickled when you see
Yeah.
something new. In this game, I get to a new area. I'm like, what the hell is this thing's deal? Is it even friendly? It's usually not. And then I have to figure out what in the fuck I needed. What in the hell is even that? And how do I handle it? You know?
Indeed. No, I agree with that 100%. They're like fucking weird ass things, and they're all over the place and
Have you
doing
gotten
weird stuff.
deep enough in the castle to see the big like spider evil crazy thing that's not even just a
Mm.
boss, it's just this big crazy thing you gotta, well, I guess it's kind of a boss because it doesn't regenerate, but like
No, I haven't seen this yet, but
I can't
I
wait
do.
because
That's what
I
I do
saw
love
that and
about
I
this
was like,
game, though.
fuck, what am I supposed to do about this?
Dog, that's what's really cool about this game, though, is that even there's just regular baddies. Super good example is the spider you bring up is a good example. Really great example is like very early in the game after that. that like turning point for you where the
The
that camp or
encampment.
whatever.
Yeah.
When you go past, there's that big gate that, you know, and then you go in there and there's a troll on top of this bridge looking down at you, and there's a bunch of archers or whatever. But it's this massive troll. It's the first troll that I think it's the first troll that you run into. But dude, it's like just imposing, staring down at you. I was like, "Ooh, this is the little boss." And like, no, it's just like baddie. It's just like a really big, crazy, cool place to like
Yeah.
environmental baddie.
I think I got him to drop like not on my head. I think some people have like run into that area and he literally lands on him and kills him. The first time I did it, I actually defeated him, but that's just because like I got some weird thing where I was being a little sneaky penis and he dropped down but didn't immediately attack.
Interesting, yeah.
So I like attacked him and then I survived. I was able to draw out the archers. I like got way more leveled and then came back and like could not do that area. I was like, how the hell did I get past this the first time?
It's a
So
tough little spot.
yeah,
The first time that like I've been back there since, and it's still difficult, but it's manageable now.
it's a nice
But
thing about talking to people is because people will just tell you to fuck off from that area and go find a cave
Mhm.
somewhere else and like get way stronger. I feel like
That's
no one was telling you to fuck off and you kept running into the strongest of walls.
dude, well, that's the thing though, is I would just bounce off everything though. Like no matter which direction I ran in, I'd be like, "That's too hard. That's too hard."
And then you got to Margit way early. I was like, how'd you even get up there? You're like, you can
Because I
get
just
past you're
yeah,
like,
just
you can
rode
get
my
past
horse.
enemies if you just run.
Yeah, totally. Which is, you know, there's like a little bit of that's fun too, though. Like it's like it's silly, dude. It's a weird game. You really got to be in the mindset. And I think that's just it. Like you had to know that you're like getting ready for some punishment. You have to be ready to, and like it's the same thing with Metroid, dude. It's like when you're fighting a boss, like you just know it's gonna whoop your ass a bunch of times, and then you're gonna learn and you're gonna get it, and that's super rewarding. And it's similar in this sense as well.
I
Only
would
you really
compare it.
do have to like level up.
Yeah, I'd compare it to Super Metroid in the sense where it has like that old school sensibility of like obscureness.
Hmm.
Where like you're like, I was able to break that was a glass tube that I was able to bomb and explode. You remember that point in Super Metroid?
Yeah.
And I was like playing it in the year of our Lord, maybe 22, 23, and 21. And I was like, how the fuck was I supposed to know that that was a breakable? Like nothing had led me to believe that's how you
Oh,
do it
sure.
prior to that happening. And I wasn't talking to anybody about it because it's a game.
Schoolyard. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this game's kind of that way too. Like you jump on the internet and you're like, you need to use this emote
Mm.
and then the guy will jump down. The way you get it is after you've heard him the first time, you talk to the merchant and you bring up the howling at this place, and then he'll teach you the finger snap, and then you go back there and you snap your fingers. And I'm like, how the fuck does anybody know this ever?
Yeah.
And
But it's
if
made.
you
But it's
found that out
made.
organically, it would feel sick, but I don't know how
It
anyone
would.
could do that.
Well, that's what's the interesting thing about this game, and to my understanding, some of the other From Software games is the okay. So we talked about the co-op multiplayer we did, where you were summoned into my game and you were able to help me out with stuff.
Yeah.
There's another earlier layer to the multiplayer, and the more like I don't know, constant multiplayer that's always happening is if you're connected to the internet,
Mm,
you get left messages by folks and things like that, right?
yeah.
Or if you're not
This is the
connected, there's
most
just like random stuff.
expensive $20 game I've ever bought. Because I now
Sure.
feel the online is absolutely crucial to playing, so I have to keep
Oh,
re-upping.
buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah. You got that gold pass.
I know, the cheapy cheapy.
Well, if you had it on PC,
I know, isn't that silly? But
it
continue.
is extremely silly. But so, anyways, there's these like messages that get left behind, and these like cool little like, they're almost like
Just,
ghosts, you know.
it's just dick jokes. There's
Most of them are
lots of
dick or sex jokes.
homoerotic jokes. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's everything's about being done in the butt or like getting some
yeah.
head. It's like wow.
Finger, butthole. Yeah, you have like this limited list of things to say, and people have just figured out every perverted thing to say at every perverted moment, and it's
Dude, it was clowning when you hit me up and you're
hilarious.
like, I haven't quite figured out like all the lingo yet. I don't really know what they're getting at. I'm like, and like I remember you like texting me that and I'm reading it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure these are just butt jokes. Like I don't
Yeah, I
know.
love how I'm out here being like, Al, you don't get it. You just gotta hang. You gotta figure out the language. And you're like, Luke, it's dick jokes. They're just
Like,
the fingers doesn't mean anything other than try fingers just means like, butt stuff. I was like, oh, okay.
oh man, but it's like it's the internet, so you of course you're gonna get that there, which no surprise. But that layer though, that like multiplayer aspect of it, I think that's really cool. Like I think it's fun. It makes you feel like in a world where we're all separated and we're playing games by ourselves. Like it's cool to like have that connection. in a way.
It's funny because part of the reason the game's so cool is because it doesn't always feel video gamey because the UI is so stripped down and
Hmm.
there's no quest log and all these things. But then it feels intensely video gaming because you see other gamers like shadows essentially rolling around, and sometimes I think it's an enemy coming to sneak up on me. I'm like, "Ugh," and it's just some other person doing something similar as me. Or sometimes you can see somebody platforming a section you're in. You're like, oh, that is doable. Or like they leave a little message like, I did it. And you're like, okay. And then sometimes someone jumps down to some space that you can stand on for a second, leaves a message, and then you jump down there and die. And you're like, you fucking butthole.
For sure. Dude, I think
Praise the
the only
message.
yeah, right. I can forgive all of this game's like what I'm saying are shortcomings or pain points or whatever, like because I do think it's cool and I think they add it, they like make it different, they make it a different experience, they make it really cool. The only thing I can't forgive is the fact you can't pause, bro.
Oh my God. Any defense of this as a gameplay mechanic, just I would stare at them and I would like to be like, I like to pee. I
Sure,
like
for
to
sure.
take the amount of times I'll be like taking a drink thinking I'm safe and then like something attacks me. I'm like, okay. Or like, my wife being a reasonable human being asking something to me or conversing with me. I'm like, not fucking right now. Okay. Can't you see what's happening?
Hood clowning. I had we won't go into the full story, like, but like my furnace went out. I mean, the coldest day of the year, and like made some smoke smells. So we had to get the fire department to come through. And I was at around this time just trying to play some Elden Ring, and like so, firemen are coming through my house, and the game's just fucking rocking and rolling. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I would just like to pause. I mean, I get it where like you can't switch a weapon out in the middle of a fight. I'm not arguing
Sure.
about that, but just like quite simply, dog, sometimes I just want to like get up and do something or acknowledge the other humans in my existence in life or like rock a text or look up one of the many obscure things I have to look up for this stupid fucking game that doesn't tell me.
Nah, dude, you gotta live in the land between or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Foul tarnished. I get it. I get it. You have any other grievances with the game, or have you already emptied your clip, old man?
There's a couple in the chamber, but no, I'm just playing. I pretty much, I think I've got them out there. Like I came with some like gonna give this game some negative energy, but at the same time, like that's not actually where I'm at with this game. Like I am enjoying this game. I think it's cool. I understand why it got all the Game of the Year awards. I understand why people love it. It's just for me, it's not a game that I want to plow through, and I don't think that's like a good or a bad thing necessarily. Um, I really enjoy not playing this game for like 5 days and then being like, I am in the mood to get my
Yeah.
ass kicked.
Yeah.
And and then I'll get my ass kicked or maybe like you know not and then I'm like wow that was great and it's so for me dude like I'm totally happy to have this game just be a game that I will go and explore and like have some fun and push through and like who knows if I'll ever beat it but like I would just like to plug through it and I think that it's not a game and I think it's almost a knock or I look at it as almost a knock that the story doesn't like capture me to at least not yet to like want to push through and finish like normally I would cast that as a knock but like it's almost a boon in some ways
I
because
find
it
it so
becomes
liberating, dude. I find it
yeah
so refreshing to just not be caught in some fucking cutscene or some stupid dialogue
sure
or like just plowing through text. Like I'm just derping, dude. I'm
yeah
just gripping and ripping it, brother. I'm just
yeah
exploring.
see you've committed and that's just it. I think like
Well,
whereas
what's
I'm still not like I'm not 100% there but I'm like I'm tasting it I can
yeah,
feel it
you
and
can
I'm like
understand.
yep
You understand the vibe. It's crazy, and this isn't practical as 30-year-old men. One of us soon to be 40. But like if you had a roommate that was playing it, or like if we lived together back at mom and dad's, like you would either be inspired to play it or love watching me play it, or like you'd see me do something, and you'd be like, oh shit, okay, that's what I need to do when I get to play next. Like but we don't have that in our lives, and I've been able to kind of recapture that with some of the conversations I've had with some people, whereas like for you I feel like when we did the co-op that sparked it a little bit for you, but like there's like a big chunk that like you're just left to fill in the blank, and if you don't have any assistance on that and you have to completely do it from the internet, I can see where you're just like, I just want to vibe with my 1 hour of free time today. I don't want to fucking die to the
Yeah,
same boss, which I do die to the bosses
over
a
and
lot,
over and
and you
over.
do learn their things. It's like a Metroid is the closest one, like Metroid where you learn to dance with the boss.
Mhm.
It's like that. I find it intensely liberating that I just pick it up and I'm like, I'm gonna head over there and I'm gonna do some stuff over there and I'm gonna see if I can find anything cool.
Yeah, no,
I'm
fair,
gonna
and there
find some
usually is
new
something
enemies
cool.
and I'm gonna
There
level
usually
up.
is.
I'm gonna see something cool. I'm gonna like laugh at how fucked something got. But I will like run into things and I'll just like die, and the way I die, I'll know that I have to be done playing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that was pretty fucking stupid. And I'm like, yeah, you should probably just be done. And then I pick it up the next day and I'm way better. It's kind of silly.
Dude. And that's like another, like, at first it used to really bug me, the like the checkpoint type things, the little fire pits or whatever, how
Like
you
the
get
very
sent back to those or whatever statue, depending if you're closer to one of those. But then you have to go
Mhm.
back and get your credits. It's like, Shovel Knight and shit like does it as well. That's like a it's that's like the type of, whereas like I really don't like the not being able to pause. Like I don't mind that mechanic. Like it's an interesting enough thing and like challenging enough where it's like, well, man, I just shouldn't have died my sec when I was trying to go retrieve my credits,
Yeah.
like, how you gonna die twice, you fucking
My
yeah,
runes. Yeah, I
yeah,
actually lost a huge bag of runes lately. A particularly egregious thing where like I just shouldn't have done what I did, and I was like,
totally.
oh, like you
That's what it always
you
is,
took
though.
so much fall damage because you just were being impatient to get back to it, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that was so much.
But and that's whereas like I'm like the pause button is unforgivable, but like this stuff, I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what? That like does add an element to this game that I'm like, I'm actually
Fun.
here for it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. The leveling system's actually pretty fun and rewarding, and like the replayability, you might pick it up. We've talked about it off mic before. You're like, I might plow through it. I might get through like a different chunk of it someday. We'll see. Whereas like my question is like, I definitely think I'll beat it or at least get very far to get most of the map. But it'd be
Mhm.
cool if like I did a magic build someday.
Oh, sure.
The game is you can learn the language, but it's like just because you can converse casually in Spanish doesn't mean you know Spanish. And then like there's Mexican Spanish and there's Spain Spanish. There's a difference. It's like, did you do a magic build? Oh, you did. I did this type of build. Did you do this? And there's so much complexities that like I admire. I find it frustrating when like there's mechanics that I've just like I know like crafting items and like using bombs and other consumables. I know I can do stuff like that, but I'm like that's just too much for me right now. I'm just a simple man.
Sure.
But I also like respect and like find it intriguing that like if I really needed that itch, that I could just keep going and going and going. And I'm tired of people on the internet when I'm looking up like different build things telling me to just have fun. No, I'm trying to get good. I want to know
Try
what's
trying to
effective,
max
dude.
my player, dude.
I only have so many resources to put into my weapons. Like tell me if this weapon is worth it, you fucking nerd. I understand that I'm just having fun, and this is how I'm having fun, trying to optimize my build in a way that's fun for me. I want to use the cool weapon, okay? Tell me if it's worth leveling up to use the cool weapon. Gah.
Well, with that, dude, how many you died screens out of 5 are you gonna give this game?
Dude, I want to go up to scale to 10, so I know you don't
Mhm.
want that, but here's the reason why. I'll give you a 4.75 because I wanted to give the game a 9.5.
Right on.
And here's the deal. I've never played a game with cooler enemies. It rivals the best part of Breath of the Wild, which is maybe my favorite game ever, where of the exploration and the freedom. And I love the pared down. quest stuff. I love that you're just out there and then you're jamming. But I cannot give a game a 10 out of a 10 that I cannot pause. That is, I have to give it a 0.5. And there's other small grievances. Like, I wish there was something that did like a quest log. I wish there was something less obscure with figuring out how to do missions and not being online for it. So check back in to see if I ended up maybe someday after beating it or keep playing it. I'd put it in my top 10 games because it's that good to certainly be considered, but just the tiniest of little check marks against it have made me hesitant to say how much I loved it. But as far as like sometimes we say like
You
rate the
know, get
game,
5, you can pause it, dog.
right? Sometimes we say like who would you recommend this game for?
Mhm.
That becomes more complicated because of the things like the accessibility. Like it has to be someone who like knows what the fuck they're getting into and like is a not like a capital G toxic gamer, but just like
A little
I
bit
have
of a
some
masochist.
yeah, or even just like someone who knows what they're signing up for. It's like you don't if someone's into Legos, you don't give them the most complex set possible if it's their first build. So this is
Yeah,
like a more intricate build.
you gotta be in the Elden Ring mindset, right? You gotta
It's
be ready. You gotta
dense.
know.
It's
Mhm.
dense. If you gave somebody a book and you gave them War and Peace, they're going to be like, "Hey, buddy, I was looking for a light read." Like, you really have to read the room on what someone's asking from you. So, sorry. What do you rate the game? Like a 2 out of 5? You fucking boomer, dude.
Nah, dog. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Dog. I respect this game. Like, I was a little sour on it during the talk, but I kind of wanted to come with that energy to kind of juxtapose. I knew you were really like keen on
We
it.
just constantly
Um,
be a circle jerk for the game we've played, so I respect that.
and you know, like it did frustrate me. Like, I don't think there's been a game that we've played for this podcast or a game that I've ever played that I've been like, I don't know, so conflicted with. Like, I'm like, do I like this game? Do I not like this game? But I'm looking at like the scenery, or I'm exploring the map, and I'm like getting my little like dopamine hits when I like, you know, like. But at the same time, like I'm also like, fuck this, I'm gonna play 2K. I can't right now. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, and it's totally the mindset, dude. You and like, so I'm gonna give 4 out of 5 because it's not the perfect game for me. This isn't my game of the year. I respect it. I can see why it is. I just don't think it's player friendly enough. And I don't think it needs to be. Like, that's another thing, you know? Like, I don't think that all games necessarily have to respect the player, you know? It makes it, we need games like this to, you know, to like push things forward, to like
It's
be
like
able to have the variety out there.
it's like when a grunge or a metal band or like a punk band goes pop,
Yeah,
but they still have their roots of like being grimy and shit, you know? So like it's not for everybody, but like the music critics are about it and it pulled in a general audience, but they're still fucking grimy, dude.
totally.
That's a weird comp I had to throw in, but hell
And
yeah.
it's interesting, dude, because like when you know, who would you recommend in this game to? Like, I gotta, if you're looking for like kind of like a gritty, dark, open world experience, like just go get into it, like check it out. I think it's definitely part of like people should taste Elden Ring, especially like if you're from soft curious, like I have been. Like, I think this is the sampling you want,
It's the
you
perfect
know.
entry point into the yeah.
Hmm.
If you like this, then you should go back to their early garage band punk shit
Indeed.
to continue my
Yes,
weird analogy. Yeah.
play some Sekiro, play some
Dude.
Bloodborne. You know.
Just I hope you don't like pausing. And I hope you
Well,
don't have
that's
a
just it.
wife and children, because then you should definitely play this game, dude.
Dog, I'm
Fucking
gonna
if
like
you're
it.
maidenless, dude, play this game, dude.
Maidenless. With that, let's take a little break. Come back with our unsanctioned sponsor.
Hell yeah. For our unspanctioned sponsor, I do not recommend spanking unless that's what you're into. I'm not here to kink shame. We are not sponsored by spanking today. We are unofficially brought to you by guys being dudes. Dudes
Oh,
being
dude,
guys.
guys.
Guys being dudes. Just a bunch of guys being
Oh, bro.
dudes. And a sub sponsor of that is so as Alex knows, I had what we call a men's retreat affectionately. We're just guys being dudes getting Airbnb, and do we do anything? No, we just hang out and it's dope. So I sent this delightful text to my wife where it was a little homemade meme template where I sent her what we were doing, and I was like, she thinks you're out having like causing trouble, what you're actually doing. And it was a very nerdy picture of Settlers of Catan, which somehow my nerdy ass has never played up
That's a
and
fun game, dude.
it,
It's like Age
it,
of Empires board game.
I know. So like anytime I would tell people that I had never played it, they're like, how are you, the social studies teacher, gonna tell me that plays video games and shit all
Hey,
the
you
time?
love maps and shit too?
Yeah,
Dang.
you're like all hardo for maps and things. Like, how have you not played? I'm like, I just haven't run into it. Well, I finally played. There's this wonderful card kind of board group game called Bang. Have you heard of Bang? I feel like you've done enough.
Banging?
Um,
Nah.
no, maidenless once again. But no, Bang is like this super cool card game. I encourage you or the listeners to look it up. It's like a fun group game where you kind of have a role. There's a sheriff, there's a renegade, there's multiple outlaws, and then there's a deputy. The deputy's job is to protect the sheriff. The sheriff's job is to kill all outlaws. And the renegade, highest degree of difficulty, needs to have all of the outlaws, needs to kill everybody, I guess, but you have to do it sequentially because if the sheriff loses, then the outlaws win. And you don't know everybody's role except for the sheriff. So that's like a fun thing to do when you're hanging out with dudes. So just a bunch of guys being dudes, playing board games, hanging out, eating too much, living it up. Cold weather. It's pretty tight, dude. Guys being dudes. This is a guys being dudes podcast. We're usually a dad pod, but now we're a guys being dudes pod.
Unofficially brought to you in part by Bros.
Just bro love is the only love. You know what I'm saying, dude?
I can dig it, man. No, that's cool. I get fed this ad all the time, and not I don't know what's an ad. I get fed this article all the time that says that for men's for their mental health to maintain solid mental health, bros should be hanging out at least 2 times a week.
Whoa, they should not feed that to us, dude. They should feed that to others.
It looks like how do I push this to my wife?
How do I forward this? Nah, dude, it was tight, dude. Because I came home, I was happy to be home, and then it's just every once in a while, just you never know when your last sleepover with the boys is, your last hang with the boys is. You never know when your last one is, but we all have your last LAN party. You didn't know it was going to be your last LAN party, Al. The
That's true.
good times, they're over. So just a bunch of guys getting together, being dudes. Al doesn't have much to contribute because he's jealous over there, dude. He's like, why don't I?
Where the fuck's my invite,
Where's
bro?
my invite to
No.
the cabin full of dudes, dude? What the fuck, dude?
No, I feel you. That's cool. I am jealous of your recent bro experience.
The bro spa, farts and cheese, dude. Not a
I can dig
vegetable
it
in
though.
sight, dude. That's actually a problem, but for another day.
Bros.
Just
Banging
dude stuff.
What was it?
Just
Banging
dudes
bros.
playing Bang, dude. What's weird about that?
This episode is brought to you by Luke Banging Bros.
Dude, Luke banging with bros, dude. It's different.
Oh, sorry. Banging with bros.
Yeah, not
banging
Luke
with
bang
bros.
dude.
Banging
It's different.
with bros and beers. Beers, bros, banging.
It's more of a whiskey, but you get the point.
Right
Beer's too
on.
filling with all the cheese I was consuming.
You been side questing, dude?
Dude, you go first. I got a nerd rant. I've been pretty full of those today, so you hit us first.
You know I've been side questing.
Please tell me about
Side
NBA,
questing
which
hard.
we have banned from the pod, just like NCAA football.
I haven't been playing much 2K. I mean, I got
Nice.
it in. Like I got in a couple. Like I had to play. I had to see what Luka looked like on the Lakers. That was
Gross. Yeah.
It's what it is.
The Ringer is doing like an expansion week when it comes to NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So just thought pieced articles on NBA expansion, and
Yeah.
it
Should
did
there
give
even
me
be one?
the
Should there even be one?
I would say so, yeah. But I would love to pick up 2K simply for doing a franchise or dynasty or GM mode, whatever they call it now, and doing an expansion team with an expansion draft. So you might see me on there one of these days for that deep nerd deal. What were you gonna say before I hit you with that?
Oh man, I'm about 15 hours into Pokemon Emerald. So that's a big side quest for me. That one's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A little bit, dude. Yeah, you know me. I love my handhelds. I recently
yeah. What gen is that? 3, 4?
That would be 3-ish, I think. So it's Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
I think it's third gen. So I
I
recently
wonder if
picked
I've
up
played it.
maybe. But I picked up so it's Pokemon like oh man, I think it's Ruby and I can't remember what the other color is, but those two came out, but it's not so there's Leaf Green and like
Yeah.
Red whatever.
Yeah,
So but
Fire
those
Red.
are remakes. Yeah, Fire Red. So those are remakes of the originals, right?
Yes.
But so that's like kind of like Gen 2 ish. Well, Gen 2 would be like Chris. Who cares, dude? We're not Pokemon podcast, but this game's been fun, dude. It's been fun to like because it's like more polished than the ones that I really love, like red and blue, yellow and shit. It's been fun to be in was the Kanto region or whatever. I don't know,
The hentai.
but it's cool, man. It's fun. It's like
Gonna
I
let
love
that
that.
slide, huh?
It's been cool to like I watching. I mean, you bring up 2K, but I've been watching the NBA. I watched to a little bit of my chagrin the All Star Weekend stuff. And,
Gross, dude.
dude, it was I wouldn't watch again unless they change it back to some. Yeah, we don't have to get into that, but like, don't love the format. But it's fun, like to get a shot. I've been watching the USA basketball Olympics thing on Netflix. Like watching that, it's like a documentary produced
Okay.
by your boy Obama.
Sure.
Um,
Nah,
it's
dude.
good, dude. They're about 3 episodes in on that one when I was playing Pokemon while I do that. I love like if Anna's got some trash TV rocking, like I might sit down on the couch next to her, play some Pokemon. Like it's great. It's great for like mindlessly grinding, pushing along, making it happen in the Pokemon world.
It's
And
like a
that's
nostalgic
primarily
grind too. It's like a
a
grind
little
that you're
bit
so built into your childhood that like
totally.
it's so forgivable. Like if you picked up one of those games now, you might have a rough time, but like just everything that comes with it is so
Maybe.
fluid. I mean, the random encounters and some of that nonsense, like that might not
See,
be for
but I
everybody,
think
but
true, but I think because I grew up on that and that's like my Pokemon experience, like for me, I think to your point, like it works.
yeah. No,
But the
100%.
reason I think the reason that I kind of dove into that is because I got myself a new handheld toy. I got the Ambernick RG34XX or some shit. I don't remember what
Are
the
your
model
other
is.
handheld toys jealous, or is this like a polyamorous relationship with your various handhelds?
Dude, you want to get in the weeds on it? Kind of poly, because I also got this Game Boy SP right here, right?
Yeah.
The clamshell.
Got
And
it.
so I've got this game, I've got the cart, and then I'm able to make a ROM because I've got the stuff to do that.
Sure.
And basically, I duplicated the game and was able to use emulators on my computer. So I was able to rip the save file from the cart, put it on my computer, get an emulator going up in dual windows, dual emulators, and I was able to trade Pokemon back and forth. Like I was able to create the trade system going.
Speaking of dense, he can't figure out how to scale with dexterity, but he's like, I got my double
Dog.
emulators up here.
The only thing is like
Lord
I didn't have the
mercy, dude.
foresight because like I didn't realize that you could get the other starters later in this game by breeding. I didn't understand that the breeding was in the part of this game. So I spent probably a solid like 2 hours because it doesn't let you trade any of the starters like at the first like Poke Center or whatever. You have to actually get your first badge before trading actually becomes unlocked. So like I poured and like dude, I picked up one of the games off of I picked up the game off eBay. So someone had a save file with somebody I was able to trade, which was nice.
Yeah.
Then on mine, so I was able to get that starter. And then on mine, I grinded for like 2 hours to be able to get to the point where I could trade the other starters. So I got all 3 starters, only to find out later on that I could have just bred them later. But who cares? It was about being able to like play with the tech, like, and then to move the save file back onto the Ambernick, dude. I just like
Back in the
me.
late
I'm a
90s,
tinkerer.
I was Alex's farm system for this game.
Yeah, dude.
Continue.
But dude, so like it's been fun. Like it was fun to do that. It's fun to play with the tech, get all the handhelds kind of synced up with the computer, all the save files pushed around, tinkering with that stuff. And I've been playing Pokemon. And now that I've got those, I probably won't do much more trading because what am I going to do? Like grind out 30 hours on one
Yeah,
so I
you
can
can
get some
only
other
have
guys.
so many sick Pokemon in your lineup, and you got 3 coolest ones in the game,
Well,
more or
that's
less,
just it.
so,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not a completionist, but like, you gotta catch them all, right? So, like, a part of me is like wants to get all of them, but I'm like, nah, dude. Like, you just gotta let go. Just push through to the end. You don't need to have them all. Like,
Funny how
it's gonna be
little of a
okay.
shit I gave as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, "I gotta catch this beetle, I don't have one yet, dude."
For sure. So that's a major side quest. Another major side quest. I got myself a PS3,
Mm,
and that's been a lot of fun, man. So I picked that up off on eBay. I don't know, dude. The eBay kind of got me the last couple months, I guess. But I've been tinkering around with the PS3 and playing some like PS3 is like a cool system, man. It's I had one back, around the 2008ish, I guess. Is when I got mine. Then I sold it, and then I think maybe we went in on one when I came back from Spain or something. I'm not really sure. But
yeah.
so I've had one in my life, but I haven't. It hasn't been like a mainstay. So that's like a big like gap in my gaming background. Like there's a lot of cool games that came out in that era that I haven't played. So it's been cool to be able to dabble with some of those games, and I've just kind of been tweaking this thing. Uh, and it's fun, dude. And like me, I'm a sucker for hardware. The PS3's got a very
Mhm.
interesting controller with the pressure sensitive buttons.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's cool. Two major side quests for me. PS3, I'm gonna do three major side quests
Whoa.
because PS1, PlayStation dog. I've been
Whoa.
like, dude. So I got the PlayStation Classic. I've been
I
messing
now
around with
regret
that.
clearing out for this, dude. I'm antsy to talk about my game. I'm just playing.
Yeah, and then I've also been setting up the emulators for PlayStation on my PC. So I like got my classic going. That's really fun. But then on the PC, dude, like it's so much, dude. This is some stuff that like maybe doesn't like mean anything to you, but like the fact that I can upscale a PS1 game and get it to like look beautiful on my computer and play it, like it just gets it like and run it 60 frames per second, get that thing looking nice. Like, dude, it's just so fun. It's so cool to like,
Sounds like you enjoy maintaining your motorcycle.
yes, this is correct.
That's hilarious. What's
Yeah,
a
what
PS1 game and a PS3 game that you've enjoyed playing since getting it booted up?
Little Big Planet is like one that I've been having fun with on PS3.
I played a little bit of that, but unfortunately, I never beat it. I think I got it for free when PlayStation Network was hacked, and then it like, was down for like ever.
Oh, sure.
And I never beat it, and I kind of regret that. Sometimes in life I didn't understand what a game was, so I don't know how to describe that. That's a mission for a different day. So how about PS1?
PS1, I played about 40 minutes of Final Fantasy 7, which is a game I've never played, and
Mm,
that's like to taste that
yeah,
one a little bit was fun. And it's like I don't know, there's so many games, and it's like hard to be like I want to go spend 30 hours to beat this game, but I kind of do.
yeah,
Like I've
yeah.
been tasting the RPG, like the old school RPGs, like Pokemon's that end like that gateway drug for me, dude. It's like
That's
maybe
fair.
you are ready to do some Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is supposed to be pretty approachable, I guess. But like maybe
There's
you
also
are ready to
like
do like Final
modern
Fantasy 13.
accessibilities, speeding them up and
you know.
stuff. Yeah.
hmm
Well,
So
tight. Love the gear talk. Jokes aside, PS3. I loved the Assassin's Creeds, but there's other ways to play those now. I feel like Uncharted the same. So, has anything else caught your eye from my collection back in the day, or no?
I mean, you do have all the Ass Creeds, which is dope. I mean, you just said it right there. The Ass Creeds and the Uncharted. I mean, like I've played the Ass Creeds, so like I don't have, and I do have them on Switch now, and I have like a couple other ways to play them. So like I'm probably won't dive back into those, especially because I've played them on Switch now. I haven't played any of the Uncharted stuff, so like I'm very intrigued to like jump into the Uncharted in the
Lord of the Rings
uh,
Conquest is one of my weirdest purchases, but that game it's kind of fucking cool in hindsight. How about Skate? Do I have the old Skate games in there? Those
you
games
have Skate 2.
fucking that's the best one. It's fucking
Oh, and you have Skate. Yep. So you have Skate and Skate 2. Those are classics. What else? The Batmans. You have a couple of the Batman, or no? You just have the one
oh,
Batman
that's fucking
game.
lit. Yeah, that's a good one.
So Arkham City is the one that you
Yeah,
got
that's
in
like the
there
best
in
one
this
too.
in
Yeah,
this lot.
hell yeah.
For me, for these, what I'm you've got a Arkham Asylum as well.
You should play Asylum.
Um, so I have both of those games on the PC, but I probably play them on the PS3 because why not? So for me, dude. To see, I'm excited to check out the Uncharted's because I've never really dabbled in that stuff. And there's Call of Duty, Black Ops, and stuff like that that I'll play a little bit. I've never played the Killzone
Dude,
stuff. You're telling me the Killzone was very much of its time.
yeah, it's supposed to be the Halo killer. You bought me Black Ops for Christmas,
Oh, that's for me?
Yeah, dude, it's kind of funny because neither one of us is a Call of Duty guy, but you had just moved back. You were living at home for a little bit. And it was one of those deals where you're like, dude, I got you Black Ops. Now let's play a bunch of Black Ops. This is for me too. But
Are
we
you
both
sure? I don't really remember
100%.
that. That's
It
clowny.
had one of the good original, not the original, but it might have been like the second attempt at zombies. It's a really good zombies.
I do
Um,
remember that now.
and we would do the online, and I just sucked balls at the online, and you definitely did too. So we were never good. We hung out together. It was tight. Well, that's cool. Good trip down memory lane there. Also, if you have physical media, hold on to it, guys. So for me, my side quest, I'll keep mine shorter. We have to do another pod because we're so backlogged. I'll save my larger big deal for the next one. So I'll go with a smaller one, which is that I've been playing around on the Steamy D, as always, in my bed. And I have recently given the Rogue Prince of Persia a decent few
Oh
hours,
yeah,
and it's
nice.
cool. I have, if you're a fan of the pod, you'll know that I have a nostalgic soft spot for Prince of Persia IP. Yeah. And also, you'll know that you especially, but I liked it too, big Dead Cells fan. So basically, the people
Mhm.
who made Dead Cells got the IP from Ubisoft. So if you don't like the Ubisoft stank, please ignore that when it comes to these last two, this one and what's the one that came out last January, February? Um,
Where's the Persia?
yeah, what's that? The most
Oh,
recent
what is
Prince of
that
Persia.
one?
We did a pod on it and everything. Blanking on the name, but that game was fucking cool too, and it didn't get enough glow because I think there's just Ubisoft stank on it. But that was a really good game, and this is a really cool, fun game.
The Lost Crown.
Lost Crown, thank you. But the Rogue Prince of Persia is cool, because it is a 2D roguelike platformer action combat, very similar to Dead Cells, but a little bit more platformy focused. So you do like this wall run thing, and then you combine wall running with some other stuff, and it's just cool. And I'm just getting into the beginning. I wouldn't say it's like super slick like Dead Cells, but it is in early access, so give it some time, and I think it'll be a totally worthwhile game. I wouldn't say for you to buy it just yet. Look for a nice little sale or maybe that 1.0 release. But I like early access games a lot more than you, and I kind of like being a part of that little journey. And I'd say it's the build currently, especially, is definitely fluid enough where you don't feel like you're playing some sort of unfinished jank. You know what I mean?
Right on. No, for sure.
So I think that's pretty gnar. I've been reading a lot of graphic novels. That's been toy. I just
Nice.
finished Anthony Bourdain's Ghost book. Don't recommend that, but the art's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got it from my public library.
Sure.
And I just finished Blankets, which is a graphic novel classic, but I don't feel like trauma dumping on anybody what that's about, but it's tight. And I've been in the middle of East of West, which I realize now that I'm balls deep into the 10-part series that number 9 is impossible to find. So I'll have to figure out how to
Oh.
handle that. So I know an eBay addict, so maybe he just needs to look out for me.
Mhm.
But that's been really cool, and I really wish they would turn that IP into either a show. It was picked up at one point, but I think it's been canceled, and they need to turn that IP into like a show or a game or something. Because yeah, that would be tight. And I eagerly look forward to the last Ronin Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have we talked about that on this pod, or we've been so out of commission that we haven't talked about that journey?
I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I love the last Ronin, dude, and got that for you for Christmas.
I tore
And
through that.
glad you read it. Have you read the second one yet,
No, I want to
or the
get it from a
prequel?
gnarly little bookshop near your house. I just was
Nice.
overspent the last time we were there. So next time I go there, I'll go there knowing that I'll at least buy that book. So I'll have been mentally prepared to just continue to blow money locally,
Yeah,
of course.
dude.
But yeah,
That's a
super cool.
super fun book or whatever. And I'm about halfway into the prequel
Get it
now.
from the
That's a lot of
library,
fun. Um,
or did you buy it?
yeah.
Oh,
Digitally from the library, yes.
yeah. So I just can't wait to either see them turn that into a movie, TV show. Fucking, I know there's a game coming out. Like, I'm just very excited for that.
Dude, you brought up books, man. I gotta throw this book out there. Let
No.
you Yeah, dog. It's called Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson.
Okay.
So if folks are hungry for a book that's like pretty, it's like a quick, like written so well, dude. Like it's such a fun read,
You
reads pretty
talking
quickly.
fiction, nonfiction here?
Fiction. So it's called Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. And it's a book about this woman who ends up becoming a nanny for her, like an old friend of hers from college. I'm not gonna like give away too much of the story here, but these kids catch on fire. Like
Cool.
they like spontaneously combust. That's like a thing that just happens with these kids, but it doesn't hurt them or anything. Right. But that's just like a weird quirk about these kids. And it is just like the most wild, ridiculous like story about her, like, I don't know, living with these kids and like it's just like it is so funny, dude. Like you just gotta check it out. Like it's a big recommend from me. It's like a comedy, fiction comedy.
All right. I do. It's easy for me to find nonfiction books, and it's easy for me to find graphic novels, but I struggle with finding good fiction. So I wrote that down as you wrote or as you spoke. So that's cool.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It like kind of greased my gears to get me back into reading like actual books again. So I like
Yeah.
so I've been reading. I've been that one I plugged through real fast, and then I've been kind of chugging through some Kurt Vonnegut because he's a favorite author of mine. But I haven't. I mean, he's great. Like, don't get me wrong, but like I had like I had to like see to the finish. Nothing to see here.
What are you,
Whereas
some
like I'm
English
reading
major or
Player
something,
Piano.
dude?
What's that?
What are you, some sort of fucking English major, dude? What are you,
Yeah.
Good Vonnegut, dude?
Talk. But like with Player Piano though, it's like I'm enjoying it, but it's like I'm not like okay tonight. I can't wait to like go to bed at night so I can fucking read. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
Word. Go read a book, everybody.
Alex was an English major, if you didn't pick up on that. I'm not a dick to English majors, just this one.
Indeed. Much love, everybody. Thanks for listening. Welcome back. We're glad to be back after the technical difficulties, the sicknesses, the schedule, bananas, whatever
Everything you can
stuff.
think of, yeah.
Life. But good to hang, dude. Fun to talk about this game, fun to play this game.
Just two
If you
guys
want to
being
check out,
dudes, man.
if you want to check some bros banging.
Whoa. Check out the game Bang. I doubt it's like huge mainstream, so they could probably use some people who are into board games. If you got a game night, you know what Bang is, and if you don't, you should get it.
Bang, bang.
Bang,
Check
bang.
out low5gaming.com. Bang, bang. Till
Peace,
next
peace.
time, y'all. Peace.